Hi, I'm Sandi Genovese, and today we're looking at some cool ways that you can package Valentines, little small Valentines that you might want to give to someone on Valentine's Day. If you look at the table, there's a couple of options. We're going to look at making a heart container that's kind of like a little heart box. If you look inside, it's got room to hold something small or multiple things that are small. And we're going to look at how to take just a regular box and how to sort of zhuzh it up into something really kind of fun. I think we'll start with the heart box. And what I did was I started with 2 hearts that I cut from cardstock. Let me move this out of the way. You can see that I cut 2 red hearts, and then I cut the same heart out of black. And I went back with my white pen, and I already started just writing love you, love you, love you. Now, if you have patterned paper or cardstock that you like, that's great. But if you want to make it yourself and make it super personal, you can do that by just using your white pen. I'm just repeating love you, love you, love you over and over on the black. So at this point, all I need to do is to just cut it. And I want to cut it not in half, but I'm going to trim off, and I'll use both pieces. So I'm going to cut right about here. So I will use this on one of the hearts. Let me go ahead. I might as well just go ahead and do it. Let's put adhesive on the back. Remember, you're going to do more adhesive than me. I only do enough to assemble this so that you can see how it's put together. And lined it up, and then I like to add, I like patterns on patterns. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this patterned paper, because this is fairly expensive. Notice I'm just using a little bit of it. So with my tweezers, I can hopefully do this with my hands out of the way. I'm going to just line this up underneath the black, and then I'll trim off the excess. And you can see how I've created what would be like the front or the back of the box. And then I'm going to do the same thing, only this time I'll use the bottom. So I'll go ahead and I'll put adhesive on the bottom half of the heart, line it up. And I won't actually stop to do this. Well, it'll only take a second. Maybe I will. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put this patterned paper right where that seam is, just to add a little more detail. And once again, cut off the excess. So you end up with what will be the front and the back of the little heart box. Now, to make it into a box, this is the essential part. This is a strip of paper or cardstock. I started with a strip that was 2 inches wide and 8 inches long, and I came in, if you look at this, I came in 3/8 of an inch and have a score line. And then on the same thing on this side, came in 3/8 and a score line. And then I just, with my scissors, cut out these little V's so that it's going to make it easy for me to fold it up. Now, this actually, I adapted this from an Eileen Hull die. So if you're going to make lots of these, lots of boxes, it might be worth it to just buy the die, because it's genius the way she has 3 different mechanisms on the die that help you make things into little packaging boxes. This one, though, if you're only going to make one, then you might just want to cut out the strip by hand. You're going to go ahead and put adhesive on these tabs. So, and I'm going to fold along each of these seams lightly, because the heart shape is kind of curvy. Folding all of these V sections is going to make it so that if I want to follow exactly the shape of the heart, I can. So you can see how I lightly have the creases there. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put adhesive on all these tabs on both sides, because once you have it stuck down, it's not going to be easy to get in there. So go ahead and put adhesive on both sides of this strip. And then find the center and take what will be one of your hearts. I mean, this is always tricky to do so that you can see and I can still see what I'm doing, but let me see if I can. I'm going to line this fold up with the tip of the heart base. So, and I'm going to fasten the tab down, and then I'm going to just follow lightly the shape of the heart. So let me do this and then try to get my fingers out of the way so you can see. So you can see that I've done that on this, and you can see I've just kind of lightly followed the shape of the heart. And then I'm going to just repeat the same thing on this end. It's tricky to do this so that I can see it and you can see it as well. So, once you've created and fastened down all of these inside sections, then you're going to just do the same thing. What I usually do is really curl these down and then take the other heart, place it over the top, sort of lightly to start with, and then when I turn it over, I can get back in here with my fingers and I can press down on all those tabs. The ones that you saw on the first half, they're now inside. So I know you can't see. I can't see either, but I can feel them in there. So you're going to reach in there with your hands and attach all the inside. So you're just going to create this cool little holder that you look inside and is dimensional, and it will hold scarves, jewelry, candy. We're going to see how to do some cool fortune cookies. So that's how you can create this. In order to have the tag that says who it's to and from, actually, if you look at the one that I did here, before I glued that black down, if you want to put a tag and glue it on, you can put it there. Or you can make a larger tag, and once you have this filled with something, you can tuck this so that it pokes out of the little box. So that's making the heart-shaped box. Now, you can also take just a regular box. This was from, I think, the Container Store. No, this was from Uline, but I know they have them in the Container Store as well. And I just zhuzhed it up a little bit by adding a belly band that we'll see how to make, and adding a black line all the way around. You can see that it's going to be, once again, a nice size to hold any of the little things that we're going to see how to make today, plus any other little things that you might carry. What's kind of unique is I've taken the box and I've added these black details, and I think it just really kind of gives it some fun sophistication. And then we're going to see how to do the belly band and the flower. But first, let me just show you. Here are some options of boxes. I think you could add black to the pink and it would be cool. You could also use a red Sharpie on the pink. The one that is the easiest to find is just the plain white. So you just want to take, and every place there's a fold line, which you can see the box already has the score lines. So I'm going to just take my ruler, and I'm using a Sharpie because the box is created out of sort of a shiny material that I don't think a regular pen would show. I think it would just beat up. So you can see I'm not going to stop to do the whole thing, but if you go back and you do this on all of the places, all of the fold lines, if I go back and show you on my box, when you put it together, it just adds a cool little sophistication to the box, and it's a simple little tip that you can easily do. Once you've got all the black lines, then go ahead, fold on all the creases, and the way that this box works, I'm going to go ahead and fold every place, and you'll just have to use your imagination to pretend like there's black everywhere on all of these fold lines. The bottom goes together really simply. You fold in all 4 sections of the bottom, and they have the sections with tabs, and then they have the sections that slide into the tabs. So I'm going to just poke these in and then do the same thing with this side. So that gives you the bottom of the box, and you can see how it's going to just close right up And imagine now if you had the black all the way around, you have this. So once you have it at this stage, then all you need to do is just take colored paper and cut it in strips that is a good width. You're going to wrap it around the box, making sure that it's going to line up on the bottom. I want it to be a snug fit, but not super tight. So a little bit of adhesive on this side, and close this up, and a little bit of adhesive on this end. So wrap it around, and like I said, you want it to be snug, but you don't want to have to fight it every time you try to slide it on and off. So don't make it super tight. So go ahead, line up these edges, and then press down to make the adhesive secure. And that way you've got the belly band. You're going to go back and add, I won't stop to do it now, but you can add other colored papers to add more detail. Let's look at the flower, because that's a really easy thing to do. There's tons of die cuts, but you can also hand cut flowers. If you look at the one that I did, I think it looks, the layers stand out more if you flip each of the petals just a little bit. So what I did was, starting with the smallest one, I just, with my finger, I just went like this. And this will flip up all of the petals. I learned this technique when I was taping my show. Shelley Gardner from Stampin' Up! Used to do this to everything, and I thought it was so cool and it looked so good. So you're going to do that. Like I said, I won't stop to do all the layers. Actually, the bottom can be that way. No, this is the bottom, yeah, the middle layer. I don't know that I did any flipping on the bottom layer. You can, but I think I just let it sit so that it would sit flat on the box. I really want the layers that are the top layers to separate. So then what you're going to do is you're going to just position these so that they overlap, put a little adhesive, set it down so you can see the pink and the red. Sometimes I decided that it even looked good to raise up some of the layers. I won't stop to pop it up right this second, but you can see how it's starting to look really cool. And then I have what will be this inside section, and I really do want that to sit up a little bit. So I'm going to just take just a little bit of foam adhesive and place it on the back. I'm going to place it over the top once I get the backing off. And then to make it really stand out, I went back with my trusty white pen. As you can see, I hardly can live without this guy. And just add a few dots. But it's an easy thing to create a cool little flower that's going to sit on the belly band that's going to decorate the box. So that once the flower is fully decorated, then just go ahead and attach it to the belly band. And you can see when I slide it on here why you want to give yourself a little bit of play. So, you know, you want it to hold the box closed, but you don't want to make it so hard that every time you slide it on and off, it fights you. This gives you a second really cool option of something that can package fun little treats for Valentine's. Now let's look at some of the fun little treats. You know, if you bought a present, that's great. But if you're looking for something that's inexpensive and personal, there's a couple of cool little things that you can do. One is you can just go and buy fortune cookies. There was a little mom and pop place in Laguna, and they sold them by the dozen. And then I went to like a Panda Express. They sell them by the dozen. So you buy the fortune cookies and you open them up, and you use your tweezers to get in there with where the fortune is, and you're going to just pull out the paper fortune that's there. And now comes the fun part. Depending on who you're making this for, you can make them silly, you can make them racy if it's for your husband and it's going to just be something between the two of you. If it's for your parent or your child, you're going to print out your fortunes. I printed them on colored paper because I really want it to stand out. So this one says, "It's my good fortune to know you." And then you're going to go ahead and you're just going to slide these back into the fortune cookie. Sometimes it's easiest if you fold it, but I kind of like leaving it so a little bit shows out the ends. It's not difficult to do. If you want to make it even more special, you can take melting chocolate, and I just, as you know, I don't know how to bake or cook, but trust me, this is very simple. The instructions just tell you to put it in a microwave safe container. That's what I did it in the microwave. Melt it down. I melted it in a glass so that I could take the cookie and use the end that the fortune isn't hanging out of and dip it down into the chocolate. They smell so good. And so you can have like half chocolate fortune cookies, which is very cool. Then I had leftover chocolate after I'd covered lots of fortune cookies. So I poured the rest into my silicone ice cube molds, and look at how cool. Let's see if I can just get these to come out on the table. You get these adorable chocolate candies handmade by you that, once again, you get these perfect little chocolate hearts. I mean, how perfect is that? And then all you need to do is just, I'll take the tag out, drop these into your box that you've also made very personal. Put your who it's to and from on the tag. How fun is that? Whether you're giving candy, fortune cookies, or other tiny treats, the packaging, it's just going to make it that much more special.